if I told you that some of the very supplements you're taking to slow down aging might actually be speeding it up, would you believe me? What if I also told you that these aren't obscure, shady pills from unknown brands, but some of the most popular ones on the market, praised across social media, sold in health food stores, and even recommended by professionals? Now, imagine investing in your health daily, thinking you're doing everything right, only to discover that a few of those capsules could be turning back the clock in the wrong direction. The big question is, which ones are they? Why do they have the opposite effect? And more importantly, are you taking them right now? If you care about living longer, aging slower, and keeping your body strong, then this might be the most important video you watch this year. So stay with me, because once we start, you'll realize just how sneaky the science of supplementation can be. And hey, before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on vital truths about your health, backed by science and explained simply. Let's start by facing a hard truth. We live in a culture obsessed with youth. Every year, Americans spend billions on supplements claiming to support longevity, brain function, energy, skin, muscle, hormones, you name it. But how many of us stop and ask, what does the research actually say? The FDA doesn't regulate supplements the way it does medications, so labels often overpromise and underdeliver. But what's worse than wasting money? Taking something that's actually aging your body faster than doing nothing at all. And here's the first twist. Some of these aging-accelerating supplements weren't designed to be harmful. In fact, they were created with good intentions, but the body doesn't always respond how we expect. Sometimes, what sounds beneficial in theory ends up disrupting your natural balance in practice. This is especially true as we get older, because the aging body is not a younger body that's just been around longer. It's different. It reacts differently. That's the crucial point almost everyone misses. Let's talk about antioxidants. Sounds like a good word, right? You've been told for years they help fight aging by neutralizing harmful free radicals. But here's what most people don't know. When taken in excessive amounts, certain antioxidant supplements, like high-dose vitamin E or beta-carotene, can actually interfere with your body's natural stress response. You see, oxidative stress in small amounts isn't always a bad thing. It's part of how your body signals repair. It's part of how your mitochondria adapt. When you constantly suppress it, you weaken those adaptive systems. That's been linked to higher mortality in some studies, particularly among smokers and older adults. But it gets deeper. There's a term called hormesis, which basically means that a little bit of stress can make you stronger. Like lifting weights or fasting, small challenges build resilience. But if you smother all those micro-stress signals with aggressive antioxidants every day, you're basically turning off your body's natural defense systems. You think you're helping your body, but in reality, you're training it to become more fragile. That's not anti-aging, that's anti-resilience. And if you're over 50, that matters more than ever. Here's another curveball. Ever heard of iron supplements being good for fatigue? A lot of people, especially older adults, think a little extra iron helps boost energy. But unless you're clinically iron deficient, and I mean confirmed by blood tests, taking extra iron can quietly do the opposite. It can accumulate in your tissues, especially the liver and brain, where it acts as a catalyst for oxidative reactions. That's right, excess iron fuels aging at the cellular level. It's been linked to increased risks for cardiovascular disease, neurodegeneration, and even certain cancers. The scary part? Symptoms of too much iron often go unnoticed. You won't feel it at first, but inside, that iron is rusting your cells. Literally. The process is called ferroptosis, iron-driven cell death. Not the kind of regeneration you were hoping for, right? And for men and postmenopausal women who don't lose iron regularly through menstruation, this buildup happens silently. That's why more is not better. That's why testing before supplementing matters. Now let's shift gears. One of the most talked about anti-aging trends right now is collagen. It's in powders, capsules, coffee creamers, protein bars. It's promoted as the holy grail for youthful skin, strong joints, and even gut health. But what no one tells you is this: collagen supplements might not work the way you think they do, and in some cases they may even interfere with your body's own collagen production. Here's why. Collagen is a protein made of amino acids, especially glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. When you ingest collagen, your body breaks it down into those basic amino acids, just like any other protein. It doesn't magically go from powder to your wrinkles. Your body still decides what to do with those raw materials. And if you're eating a protein-rich diet already, your body isn't short on those amino acids. What it might be short on is the signal to use them for collagen repair. That signal comes from mechanical stress, like exercise or cold exposure or tissue damage. So if you're relying on collagen powder without stimulating collagen production through movement or other pathways, you may not be getting the results you expect. But here's the kicker. Some low-quality collagen products are contaminated with heavy metals or are poorly absorbed. So not only are you possibly wasting your money, you could be introducing toxins that increase oxidative stress, which, again, accelerates aging. Always check for third-party tested brands and don't fall into the more is better trap. Collagen has potential, but only when your body knows what to do with it. Let's turn to calcium. You might be thinking, wait, how could calcium be bad? Isn't that what we need for strong bones, especially as we age? The answer is yes and no. You do need calcium. But when you take it as a standalone supplement, especially in high doses and without the proper cofactors like magnesium, vitamin D, and vitamin K2, it can go where it's not supposed to. And that's where the real problem begins. Because calcium doesn't just go into your bones, it can end up in your arteries, your joints, your kidneys, contributing to stiffness, calcification, and even increasing the risk of heart attacks. That's right. Some studies have linked isolated calcium supplements to higher cardiovascular risks in older adults, especially when not properly balanced with the nutrients that direct it safely into bones. If your body can't absorb and guide the calcium efficiently, it doesn't matter how much you take. It becomes a problem, not a solution. So imagine this. In your effort to protect your bones, you may be hardening your arteries instead. Scary, right? But that's what happens when supplements are taken in isolation, without context, without understanding. The body is not a collection of parts. It's an interconnected system. That's why real anti-aging medicine always asks how things interact, not just what looks good on the label. And now we come to one of the most popular supplements of all time. Melatonin. You've probably taken it for jet lag or to fall asleep faster, but here's what you need to know. Melatonin is a hormone, and anytime you take a hormone as a supplement, especially long-term, you risk suppressing your body's own production. That's exactly what can happen with melatonin. Short-term use? Fine. Occasional use? No big deal. But nightly use for weeks or months? That can backfire. Your pineal gland may reduce its own output. That means over time, your natural sleep rhythms, your circadian rhythm, could become less responsive, more erratic, and more dependent on external support. Worse, melatonin supplements vary wildly in dosage and purity. Some brands contain 10 times the amount listed on the label. Others have contaminants, and your body doesn't need megadoses. In fact, studies show that even 0.3 milligram, not 3 milligram or 10 milligram, can be effective. Yet people are routinely popping large doses every night, thinking it's harmless. But here's the irony. The older you get, the more your natural melatonin declines, and the more important it is to preserve what you still produce. Overloading it externally can rob you of that ability. So now you know. 5 supplements, 5 very common mistakes, and 5 reasons you might be aging faster, despite trying your best to do the opposite. What's the takeaway here? It's not that all supplements are bad, it's that context matters. Your age matters. Your diet, your lifestyle, your blood work, all matter. And the real goal of anti-aging isn't to take more pills. It's to support your body's natural capacity to adapt, regenerate, and thrive. That means fewer blind guesses, more intentional actions, smarter choices, and a willingness to ask the hard questions, like, is this supplement helping or hurting? If you're over 50 and your joints ache when you get out of bed, go upstairs or just try to enjoy a walk. It's not your age and it's not your fault. The real issue? Your body's running out of a natural substance that cushions your joints like a shock absorber. And most supplements out there, glucosamine, collagen, all of it, don't fix this. But now, researchers have discovered a breakthrough that can actually restore what your joints are missing. And people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s are seeing real relief. If you're feeling stiff, sore, or weaker lately, stop guessing. Check the link in the pinned comment now. Let's keep going, because now that we've revealed how some of the most common supplements might be silently aging you, there's something even more important we need to talk about: what you can do to protect yourself. Because knowing what not to take is only half the battle. The real power comes when you understand why the body reacts the way it does and how to work with your biology instead of against it. And to do that, we need to go deeper into how aging actually happens inside your cells. Not the surface-level stuff like wrinkles or gray hair. I'm talking about the silent processes, the ones that decide how fast your brain slows down, how resilient your heart is, how quickly your muscles waste away, how easily you fight off disease, and how long your cells can keep regenerating. These processes aren't governed by age alone. They're shaped by your choices. And that's the good news, because while you can't stop time, you can slow the damage. Let's revisit something we touched on earlier: the mitochondria. These are your cell's power plants, the engines. They take in nutrients and oxygen and produce energy, specifically ATP. But over time, mitochondria wear out. They get damaged. They leak more free radicals. They produce less energy. That's one of the core hallmarks of aging. And guess what speeds that up? Poor quality supplements, taken excessively or without need, especially those that increase oxidative stress, like unbalanced iron or calcium, or those that blunt mitochondrial adaptation, like excess antioxidants. But here's something fascinating: the very act of low, calculated stress protects your mitochondria. It tells your body, adapt, get stronger, clean up the damaged cells. That's what hormesis is all about. And it's why certain lifestyle tools, like exercise, cold exposure, and intermittent fasting, are so powerful. They trigger your body's natural anti-aging programs. And yet, most people look for shortcuts in bottles, hoping to replace what their body was built to do with a pill. That's not optimization. That's outsourcing your health. Let's talk about another trap: the obsession with megadoses. If some is good, more must be better, right? Not exactly. Take vitamin D, for instance. It's crucial for immune function, bone strength, hormone balance. But too much can lead to calcium overload, kidney strain, and even tissue calcification. And it's fat-soluble, meaning it gets stored in the body, not flushed out like water-soluble vitamins. So high doses over time can quietly build up to toxic levels. And here's the kicker: most people taking massive doses have never even tested their vitamin D levels. They're guessing, following trends. That's not how precision works. The same goes for zinc. It's amazing for immunity and cellular repair, but when taken chronically at high doses, zinc can deplete copper, another essential mineral. That imbalance can cause anemia, immune dysfunction, even neurological issues. So you start supplementing for health and end up creating a deficiency somewhere else. One step forward, two steps back. And now let's look at the bigger picture. Aging isn't caused by one thing. It's a system-wide decline. It's inflammation, oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, cellular senescence, hormonal changes, and immune dysregulation, all happening at once. And the reason supplement mistakes are so costly is because they often worsen the very systems you're trying to support. Let's revisit calcium for a second, because there's something even more subtle. Did you know that when calcium gets into the wrong places, like your arteries or soft tissues, it's not just about stiffness or heart disease risk? It also changes cellular signaling. It affects how your immune cells behave. It influences inflammation. And chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the strongest drivers of age-related disease, from Alzheimer's to cancer to diabetes. So when we talk about aging faster, we're not talking about getting a few wrinkles. We're talking about setting off a chain reaction, a biochemical domino effect that quietly erodes your resilience. That's the danger, and that's why supplementing without strategy is like playing darts blindfolded. You might hit the target, but you'll probably hit the wall. Let's switch gears again and touch on one of the most hyped anti-aging ingredients in recent years: NAD boosters. If you've read anything about longevity, you've probably come across supplements like NMN or NR, precursors to NAD+, a coenzyme crucial for cellular energy and repair. In theory, boosting NAD sounds brilliant. After all, NAD levels decline with age, and raising them has shown promise in mice. But here's what's not being talked about enough. We don't yet fully understand the long-term effects in humans. And while early studies are exciting, we're still exploring how much is too much and how NAD boosters interact with other cellular processes. For example, if you stimulate NAD production without addressing mitochondrial health, you might be pouring fuel into an engine that's already leaking. And in certain types of cancer cells, elevated NAD can actually promote growth. That doesn't mean NAD boosters are dangerous across the board. It means they're powerful. And anything powerful needs to be handled with precision, not hype. This is why real anti-aging protocols never start with supplements. They start with your data, your labs, your lifestyle. Then, maybe, you add specific nutrients in targeted ways to correct deficiencies or support known weak points. That's where supplements shine, as tools, not as shortcuts, not as band-aids, not as substitutes for sleep, movement, nutrient-dense food, stress regulation, or connection. Because guess what? Longevity isn't just biology. It's behavioral, it's emotional, it's holistic. And here's something even more surprising. Recent research shows that loneliness and chronic stress can have stronger impacts on aging than some chronic diseases. They increase inflammation, weaken immunity, accelerate cognitive decline, and reduce life expectancy. And there's no pill for that. You can't supplement your way out of disconnection. You have to live your way out of it. But back to the core idea that supplements can age you faster. That's not fear-mongering. That's the science of nuance. Because it's not about whether something is natural or popular or recommended on a podcast. It's about how it behaves in your body, at this moment in your life, with your current biology. That's the question most people never ask. They ask, what's trendy, not what's right for them. So where do we go from here? Start by reviewing everything you take. Ask yourself, why am I taking this? What problem is it solving? Has that problem been confirmed by testing? Or am I guessing? Am I taking multiple supplements that overlap or interfere with each other? Do I know the dosages, the interactions, the quality of the brand? Am I measuring results or just hoping? Because supplements aren't just innocent add-ons. They're interventions. And when used strategically, they can be life-changing. But when used blindly, they can quietly sabotage your goals. That's the real lesson here. It's not to fear supplements, it's to respect them. Respect their power, respect your biology, and most of all, respect the fact that your health isn't built by what you swallow. It's built by what you do day after day with awareness, intention, and curiosity. You now know the hidden truth about 5 supplements that are commonly misunderstood and how they could be accelerating aging in ways most people never see coming. But you also know how to take back control, how to question the hype, how to choose with purpose. That's real empowerment. That's real anti-aging. And if you want to keep learning how to live longer, stronger, and smarter, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Tap the video on screen and discover the surprising habits that could be shaving years off your life without you even realizing it. I'll see you there.